there's any question you ask is just going to help others too. So it's pretty relevant to do that, helping others. Okay, so again, this is 10 a.m. We're live. We're going to go over Annuity 101. This is usually final expense, mortgage protection leads inside the homes, and then getting to a position of illustrating the annuities. But I'm also going to review some final expense tactics and strategies for mortgage protection sales along the way too. So just get your notebooks out, be patient, and there's golden nuggets all through this, okay? What you pick up out of this is, you know, my training over the years has been little things over time, not one big thing, one big training that I've gotten it all out of. So give it time, just think long distance, and your education will come together, and you'll be able to make a lot of money doing it. So I'm telling you right now, we're in an information and educational industry. You know, the sales is just presenting information in yourself. You know, they want to buy you. That's reported a point of trust is you, and then your knowledge of what you can do for that person. Your knowledge of what you can do for that person comes through these products that we use. So how can it benefit that individual and their family to do what you're asking of them or giving them options to do? I always tell it, when I go into, I say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm here to give you all your options to this mortgage protection or final expense. And with that word options, if I run into what we'll learn later is that pivotal moment of where I come from the mortgage protection or final expense into the annuity presentation, if you will. And we're going to go what I say to get to this position, which is the illustration. So this is the actual lead here. I know it's tough to see sometimes in the light, but if I can maneuver this. There's notes all over the lead. It's, you know, if you want to flip the lead over, take notes. A lot of reps are telling me they don't have paper form of a lot of things. I write everything. There's drawers full of stuff in here, all apps that we've done in the past, so keep it all, okay? So here we have a lead, Marlene Henry. This is $87,000. You know, this isn't, I don't think this is a very big annuity actually, but the illustration still stands. Any illustration you do, even if you were guess a number to help the client out, and you don't have to get into their numbers. So once we get into the words I say to get to the illustration, I'm going to tell you that if somebody is unwilling to tell you what they have in a retirement plan, it doesn't matter, because this will share with them exactly what the history of this product has done. And then along with the fact is that this numbers can pertain to their numbers. It doesn't have to be their number. So it means that if this is $100,000, it's going to show that over the past 10 and 20 years, it basically doubled every 10 years, you know? So it just helps to know that you don't need exact numbers to do an illustration. You could just host an illustration from any number and just share with them. So I would guess bigger numbers, 100,000, things like that. But it would help for your sales that you get the exact number on the table to do the illustrations for you. We're going to go over that in a second. The number one thing that you're going to fail at in this industry is not doing the education yourself and not having steady lead flow. So I'm going to repeat this again. This is the most vital piece of this puzzle to do annuity presentations on a weekly, almost daily and monthly basis is your lead flow. So you've got to have steady lead flow. Steady. Steady. So don't order 25 leads and run them for 4 weeks. You cannot run a business this way. You own a business. How are you going to run a business like this? You're beating up these leads. Stop it, okay? Order new stuff. With the presentation itself, we're going to get through this and where the pivotal point is. So we all get in here. We have a lead to go through. This is the lead. I'd be at the table. I would refer to this lead. I would write her name down. So let's just do this. I'm going to put Mrs. Jones down and Mr. Jones. Now, not all the time is there, you know, somebody else in there. So while you're on the phone, this is your job to make sure that that significant other is there. And a lot of you are failing at this to solicit these calls. It's the very first step. When you're soliciting these calls, it means that you're making sure that the significant other is there or somebody that helps them make important decisions. Mr. Jones, you don't have a wife, right? No. So is there anybody that helps you make important decisions? You need to write that down, by the way. Is there anybody else that helps you make important decisions? Yes. Who is that? My son, my daughter. Can they be there? You'd like them to be there because this pertains to them. Are they the beneficiary of this? It would probably be likely that they are. Now, if somebody says that they don't have anybody that helps them make important decisions, you move on and ask them, who would be your beneficiary? My daughter. Would your daughter be there? Because it's very helpful that they understand this too. This is a big deal. We're talking about protecting your final arrangements, or we're talking about protecting your home. And in final expense, or life insurance, you're really open to covering anything. You can cover anything you want with that situation. Final expense to me is more like selling life insurance, which means it goes to anything. Mr. Jones, you have, this is really important because this is a part of the deal that helps me get to the position. So just bear with us for a couple minutes, and then I'll get to the annuity stuff, because this is how I get there, okay? And this is vital. This is the roadmap. So I'm going to write down mortgage is $200,000. And I literally draw this on paper right in front of you, okay? Every time you see me erase this, this is me on a new sheet of paper. There's a lot of new people on here, so they don't understand this. So people who have been here for a while, be patient. So this is $1,000 a month. Mr. Jones, how much is the mortgage? It's about, it's on the sheet, and this is for mortgage protection first. So give me a second. It's $200,000. The monthly is $1,000. And from here, I would go to, so the home is $1,000 is $200,000. Now, sometimes I'm building rapport this way too. So they know why I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm kind of in between the rapport building, of sitting down, talking to them a little bit, and then getting to this point. I'll spend long building rapport. Like, it's not 15 minutes, I can tell you that much. It's more like 2 or 3 minutes, to be honest with you. This is my rapport building, where they get to know my knowledge is my rapport. I have $1,000 a month here. I have $200,000. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you have 30 years on here, is that right? 30 years. And then from here, it's basically knowledge. So I can go into asking Mr. Jones, to protect Mrs. Jones, if God forbid something happened to you, do you have existing life insurance? And let's just, for this instance, let's put no. Now, if he says yes, that's okay too, because you have something to work from. There's 2 angles you can go by if somebody has life insurance. One, you can look at the policies and try to replace them if they're necessarily be replaced, like term, index universal lives, the cost of insurance that'll run it out, or you could try to put another app on top of it. But the theory is that one app, one larger app, will make more sense than having multiple applications. More than one app. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, if God forbid something were to happen to you too, you don't have any life insurance. Now, Mr. John, I'm going to do the quick version of this. Mr. Jones, is there anything else that you'd be leaving behind in Mrs. Jones? Like, do you have any other inheritance at death? Would you be leaving a pension behind? And I start with that because that's an easy one. No, I don't have that. So, Mr. Jones, do you happen to have a 401k? So at death, you'd be leaving that behind? Yes, I have that. So at death, what's the death benefit value of that? So what's the death benefit value? Let me tell you how much that has changed. I mean, there's more illustrations than I do than ever because of those words. And because of that, it's allowed me to illustrate a lot more. I might illustrate 1 to 11 a week or 1 to 11 a month. It all depends on the scenarios, guys, and the economics of the area. So demographics plays a role in this too. Usually it's in between 1 to 11 or 15 a week, to be honest with you. That's the truth. And it's never just really 1 to 11 a month. But anyway, look, here's a situation. If he has a 401k now, that's great, but now we need to know what the death benefit value is. It's the language I'm speaking, because I used to ask, how much is that worth? What's the value of that? You know, especially in final expense, if you're there to sell final expense, they're going to think, well, I got a financial advisor. What the hell are you asking me what my money's worth? You're here to give me death benefit. So this is why this word's important. At death, what's the death benefit value to Miss, let me change this to Mrs. Jones. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones. To your wife, what will she inherit at death? That's it. That's so important to say, okay? So at death, this is, let's just say it's $250,000. By the way, are you using any of that now? Do you guys take an income? Because it would be lower if you're taking an income. No, we don't use it. We don't touch it. So this is the position of a new rep. A new rep would try to sell the mortgage protection or the final expense first. Okay, so this is the difference between final expense mortgage protection. This is just $200,000 for the house, right? Well, it's what, $20,000 for the final expense. Or you can find out if they got a mortgage too, guys, while you're in there, and it will help you change a final expense app into a mortgage protection app, increasing the amount of premium that you earn, which is important, you know? So if $250,000 to inherit Mrs. Jones at his death, and then God forbid that something happens to you again, Mrs. Jones, to build more rapport, you can get an idea of the income. Is Mr. Jones, who is the two of the higher Social Security incomes? Because one of the larger ones is left behind. And we just want to balance Mrs. Jones on what you'll have, you know, God forbid that you're not here tomorrow, she'll understand. I have $1,500 a month that she'll receive. Now, here's the significance of this is that Mrs. Jones, during of which time that you're planning to receive that, which takes 6 to 12 months, worst case scenario. Okay, why? Because there's going to be so many baby boomer deaths that they're not going to be able to push all this through. Okay, especially after 10 years from now. 6 to 12 months, it's happening right now, in fact, to be honest. So it can take 30 days, yes, but this is good because this is the worst case scenario. That's what you're there for, worst case scenario. So this is going to help her understand that she can receive this in 6 months, and if this is the income she has along with this, then that's great income. But if she's at $750 a month, then she has to start dragging out this the first 6 to 12 months. That's not good at all. So she's going to need a couple bucks anyway from this 401k. So we want to drive this thing up for her. So while he's still alive and they're not touching it, we want to drive that income up. So we want to get this, and this is all scenarios. I know the numbers might not make sense, but the numbers usually look a little different in the home. This could be more like 1,050 or something like that. It depends on the woman, if she worked or if she was a stay-at-home mom. This 250 is vital. Now, we want to say to them, you know, if you're a new rep, you're going to want to bring this back. This is just the education that you're taking back with you about the situation. You're going to try to sell the policy. This is a newbie. And the reason I state this is because I would have to do this illustration right there on the spot, like I did this one. So this one was printed up right at their computer. Okay. So I said, do you have a computer? Yes. Do you happen to have a printer? Yes, I do. Well, listen, remember when I said I wanted to give you all your options? I want you to make sure that you're aware of every option that you have to cover in your home and your future. This is a part of the deal that we offer at the office is to go over some major issues that are happening in the world today, of which you're not aware of. And what I'm doing now is I'm printing up some things that you're going to be able to hand these people soon, which will be the fees inside the 401k have easily tapped out at 70% of the 401ks have been notoriously known now to go to the advisor. So over the years, people are saying they're earning, you know, 7% on averages, but the numbers have never doubled every 10 years. 7%, it means every 10 years the number doubles. But their money never doubled every 10 years. So what the hell's the problem? Nobody ever does the math to figure it out. It's the fees. Now, it's not just the fees from the advisor, it's the hidden fees inside. So 1% over 30 years takes away 10 years of freedom from them. Retirement. 1% over 30 years is 10 years of retirement stolen from them. So this is a big deal. I mean, they got 30 years taken off of them with this kind of number. This should be $750,000 to $1 million right here is what it should be. But anyway, we got the illustration. I printed out in the home. You as new reps should take it home with you. Show your advisor, show your upline, show me, and share it with us so we can do the proper illustration for that scenario. Now, you're going to have to remember a few things. One, she's probably going to need an income from it. okay? So you have to remember that. Because of the numbers you asked about Social Security. Now, I have messed up here before, by the way. And I have only stopped at the 401k. And then I built such rapport where these people, I have had many sits like this in the beginning, where they would just start pouring stuff out at me. There's an IRA, there's another IRA, there's cash value life insurance that's paid up. There's all this shit. I've had 15, 16 different policies on the table. They've had annuities too. So remember to ask beyond this too. So I have a list together, but make your own list for now until I get it to you, which is annuities, IRAs, put the pension in there just enough. And then, cash value, life insurance, things like that. Because your game would be is to possibly make like 2 or 3 buckets if you can. One is going to be deferred to grow. Middle one they get to is midlife. And then this one is the beginning. So, this helps them defer things while they grow, while they're chewing through this. Or, if they have time to wait, you could put it all in one and bank the buck that it's going to earn like these things have in the past too. So I have clients coming to my next seminar on Wednesday that have literally told me that they have not touched their principal, but they're taking money out. They haven't touched their principal. These things are earning so well, they haven't touched their principal. And one woman takes, I don't know, what she's taking $2,000 a month out. I can't remember what she has in it, but it's incredible. It really is. So, lifetime income principal isn't even touched yet. When you get to this position as a new rep, you want to do the right illustration. Now, when you before you leave, you're going to want to state this. Now, whether the policy is delivered, if it's a UL or an IUL, it's going to be mailed to you, and then you would have to deliver it or mail it to them. It's final expense, you're going to have it delivered to them through the mail, right? So when that gets there, you're going to want to explain that policy to them, knowing you have this. As a new rep, you have this illustration. When you get back into the house, you have to know how to read this thing a little bit. And there's only a few points that you're going to want to make, really, on these illustrations, which I'll point out. One is going to be this around the first page, and it depends on the carrier with too, but there are sections that will say protection. There is no direct downside market risk to your money. We're going to want to see that. There's no direct downside market risk to your money. So that death benefit value, tax deferral, growth potential, guarantees inside. So that's vital. And then we'll move on back here, and all apps should have this. You just need to learn how to read them. Pretty simple to read. It's best if you just read the damn thing and get it over with, right? It's tough standing up to do this, but let me find this sheet because this is going to share with you the past history of the earnings, okay? Let me find it. The history of the earnings is the historics. So we're going to look at this, and this is going to be most recent, the highest, and the lowest indexes. So if we went off the highest index scenario, reflected performance of the annuity during a continuous period of 10 years out of the 20 years where the index had the highest 10 years growth, we would look at this, and we would say the averages were 8% annually, which hence doubled the numbers. So this is where we want to read this to the individual, sharing with them the numbers and the statistics of this. And there's a little bit more, and it shares with you a lot more inside, but this is kind of tough for me to do. So I'll get back to the board. Long story short, it's about getting to that position more than anything. Okay, so I'm going to erase this. This is kind of the starting point, and this takes practice. I told a rep yesterday, you never know what situation you're in. People are like chameleons. Or you've got to be like a chameleon. Things got to change when you're doing this. You really have to get to a position of understanding people. And that's why I said that this book here, Tony Robbins, will change your life. It'll really make you understand. It's one of the books that you should read, along with the videos on YouTube. This is Money Mastered Again. This doesn't make you an expert yet. You can get this you can Google that and put free PDF book. And you'll get the free PDF book by Googling free PDF, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game. But go to YouTube and watch the videos of the series that he put together. And it's going to share with you the fees. This is what your enemy is to your clients, the fees, the hidden fees. You don't know how important this is to your career because you don't know what this future brings. Congress is setting a law to where advisors will have to speak about these fees and tell them. They never had to do that in the future, in the past. I mean, no advisor had to tell them about these hidden fees. That by law, they didn't have to say anything. So there's the average 401k is about 4.1% in fees. Now think about it. The person thinks I'm just being charged 1%. So here's the averages. 401ks, they have been notorious over 30 years and take 70% going to the advisor. This is the retirement world we're talking about. So our product is kind of the opposite. We don't have any fees. We're not taking that percentage. We're definitely not getting that much money, right? At least us. Maybe the company might have bought us, but at the end of the day, they're kicking out more interest and they're protecting it from downside terms. So, you know, here's what I draw out in the house. I will say it only participates in the upsides. It never participates in the downsides. It protects you against inflation, tax increases, and then your level income. So you see that? I have increases. Here's inflation. Here's tax increases. Here's the downside market terms and level income. Income's not going to go up for these people. If anything, it goes down because of inflation. So we're trying to protect them against that, of which they didn't participate with because advisors don't teach this shit. All they talk about is give me more money and I'll make you more money. That's it. Advisors don't make plans like this a lot. They don't deflect against this. So the fees are going to kill these people in the 401k. We have to eliminate them from that. We want to steal that away. We want them to participate in the upsides, of course. So if we give them average returns at 8% in index markets today, historically sharing that with them, arrow going back, historically sharing this with them, that this would double their money. So this individual couple that we had in the past was 60 years of age, that when they hit 70 and inflation is attacking and possibly tax increases, I don't think they can do anything but taxes, right? Because of the 20 trillion bucks. And then also we have healthcare problems, you know? It's 5 times worse than they tell us it is. 5 times worse. And you're going to learn a lot of that in here. So I know people that are doing presentations, slideshows, and selling out annuity 101 shops based on this book, packing rooms with this and teaching this. So I'm telling you right now, this is the way of the future, indexing and protecting the principal and giving them a way to have income for life. What's the biggest fear of a retiree? It's not having enough money at retirement and during retirement years. It's the #1 fear above death. So running out of money is huge. We want to eliminate that from their souls, from their mind, from their being. We want to get them an income of, let's say that, you know, if somebody's at $1,200 a month after the old man dies, but he left $500,000 alone. So he's still alive. What we would like to do is get this to $1 million. At $1 million and at age, let's say 60 to 70 years of age, that's plenty of money to go the rest of your life. And this would work too. But if we can get it to there, we know that they're safe, right? We know. So that would allow $2,000, $3,000 a month. That's living good. 10 years from now, what's $1,000 going to be worth? Who knows? It could be worth $750 for all we know. We don't know. So it's scary to think that the numbers are actually, money's actually going down in its value, and things are becoming more expensive too. So if the money's going down and things are going up, what do you think they better do? So we need to find a product here. Now, let's say they need immediate income. This changes the whole game. Let's say the guy just dies tomorrow and she needs immediate income from this. So this is a different product scenario now. So now we need to host a different product for her to have the income that she needs. There are better products for income and there's better products for earnings. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do. Based on $500,000, by the way, that would be a $65,000 bonus on that. So they would start at $565,000, helping them get to $1 million a hell of a lot faster. So based on this 8% annually over 10 years, this doesn't mean they earned year one either. Could be year three that the punch up went skyrocketed, okay? So we have to understand that this isn't just based on year one, year two, year three, year four. It's over a 10-year period that those averages happen, okay? So there might be four earning sections in here that it skyrocketed. This is just how to understand this stuff a little bit. I want to share something with you here. I got this, and this is, for me, it was kind of reviewing things too, but I think for beginners, if you can get a chapter a day out of this, Annuities for Dummies is going to be a very helpful tool for you to presenting these things. Because the only reason you're not presenting them is because you think that they're confusing to present and that you're going to have a rough time presenting them. And it's not true. The basis of this whole thing is that this will help you understand annuities, but how to talk to the client about getting this illustration on the table is a whole different story. So we have to understand that I said, Mr. Jones, on the side of this life insurance that we're working on here, at death, what else would you be leaving behind at death? So a death benefit from, you have like a pension death benefit, do you have a 401k death benefit, do you have a 401k IRA death benefit, you have annuities that have death benefit. So what we do is we have those and we speak about death, so it shares with them that we're caring about her while we're asking. And this allows them to open up to us a little more instead of coming at them and saying, listen, you have a 401k, right? Yeah. How much is that worth? If you say it like that, you're just not going to work out. Trust me, it doesn't work anymore. Okay? People get a lot more cautious, smarter, things like that. So you have to understand how to go about this. So what else are you leaving behind at death? I got a 401k. So what's the death benefit value of that to your wife? Carol, Mrs. Jones, whatever you want to call her by her name so it looks real, it's life, it's a person. What's the death benefit value? I'm going to tell you right now that they've never visualized this like that. It always has looked like income and a savings to them. It now has become a death benefit. Now it's real. Okay. So when you just change the words up a little bit and it just emotionally tags to them and the mindset changes, it just eliminates any thought that you're there to scam them, really, I think. And it's therefore a helpful tool to protecting his wife of what she needs done. Final expense, same game. So again, steady lead flow. Guys, I don't know what the hell everybody's thinking by not thinking that, here's what I do know. When a lot of you get in this industry that you're recruited, right, recruiter usually today, somebody that's not making money. It used to be you got hired by a manager, somebody who was building an agency and they taught you what they knew in the field and things. It's not like that anymore. You gotta be careful who you choose as your IMO, really do. Leads are important. You may have been taught, hey, you're gonna make six-figure income, don't worry about it, selling life insurance, boom, boom, boom. You see the guy above you, he might be lying to you. I make $250,000 a year. Look at my new Jaguar, things like that. But at the end of the day, it really would become, and I would ask today, let me see your bank account. Frick it, I want to see what you're doing, man. Let me see some of the sales you make. So leads are vital, and nobody's ever really told that this has to be steady. They just told, hey, you have to order leads, or you buy leads and you buy and sell. People want to hear from you. That's true, they filled it out. I'm going to tell you, if you were there during the time they were filling these cards out or doing the call with them, remember, teleleads are great and everything, but that's just a guy basically selling them on the fact that you have insurance for them, that they qualify. So when you get frustrated at the time that you're calling, you don't know the attitude of this individual, you don't know what their life's giving them, you get pissed off because that didn't work and you're not sitting with people. Well, one, I'm going to tell you to keep track of this. You order leads, right, weekly. Well, how some of you think you're getting away with doing 20 leads a month? It's just impossible to do. You do 20 a week. And then it builds up. And then by 3 months, you got a lot of people to call. So you're ordering leads weekly, and then you have this batch of leads. Let's say you've been doing this for 4 weeks, and let's say you're at 100 leads. I'm just making 100 leads. So you got your leads. you have your dials then, right? Because you're dialing these leads. So you have 100 leads, you're making your dials, and you talk to people. Talk to people, right? That's your job. You're talking to people about filling this out. What do I say? Mr. Jones, I'm doing a follow-up call to the call you had received yesterday or the day before on some final expense information. You had requested your favorite color is blue. I'm the rep that handles that area, and I'm in that area down the street from you already, so I wanted to be able to drop that information off while I'm already in the area. And I thought about being in the area. A lot of reps are taught to say, I'm coming from 2 hours away, so somebody's there. Well, if I'm going to teach them that I'm already there in the area, they're probably going to likely be there thinking I'm taking care of neighbors too, and it's okay. So I'm soliciting this, meaning that I'm telling that person that I need you to tell Mr. Jones that I'm coming too, or Mrs. Jones that we're coming. So, are you married? Are you married? Yes, I am. Can you make sure that your wife is aware of this so when I'm coming in, she receives the information too? Sure. So I'm going to give the information to both Mr. and Mrs. Jones at the time I'm there, making sure it's there. Now, Mr. Jones, can you please get a pen and paper out? I need you to write down this. You could do a fake code number. I need you to write down 0777 is your personal number for this information, tied to this information. So I will deliver this, and that code will match up with what I have. So, or you could just say, Mr. Jones, can you make sure that this, I need you to pick up a pen and write this down in your calendar. You have a calendar in your phone, or if you write it down on the calendar in your home, and then take a sheet of paper, put it up on the fridge. So, Mr. Jones, we said that we were going to set this appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m., and you and Mrs. Jones will be there tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's correct, right? Yes. So I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. with you and your wife there, okay? Thanks, Mr. Jones. Thank you. Okay, see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. How many times I say that? You know what I mean? How the hell could you not remember 2 p.m., 2 p.m., 2 p.m., 2 p.m.? So repetition on this is important. Mortgage for, or let's go final expense, direct mail. So I got direct mail leads, and I have say, you had, Mr. Jones, hi, my name's Jason. You had requested some information on final expense. You had filled out one of our cards. Do you remember doing that? You tie them to that moment. You understand what I'm saying? Get them there with the time that they were filling this thing out. The emotions come back, and maybe the thoughts will come back why they were doing it. So yes, I remember doing that. Okay, great. Well, I'm in the area, and I am dropping this information off to your neighbors and families around your area. You and Mrs. Jones are going to be around tomorrow about 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. What doesn't matter, whatever fits in your schedule. I like my reps to really host what fits in their schedule, like a doctor's office. Remember, when you call a doctor's office, you don't tell them when you're coming. So make it that important. So, Mr. Jones, I'm going to be in the area tomorrow, 3 p.m. You and Mrs. Jones available at that time so I can drop this information off. I'll be there at 3 p.m. Yes, I am. Okay, Mr. Jones, you get a pen and paper out so we can write this down inside your calendar, and we're going to allow your wife to know this too. We're going to write down 2 p.m. tomorrow. Jason delivering the final expense information. Let your wife know, and I'll come and drop this off. And then also, I'm going to have you probably put this up on your fridge if your wife's not aware of it, and that's maybe where she sees a lot of the information that you leave behind to organize your schedule. So I'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Mr. Jones, is that fine with you? Yes, that's great, Mr. Jones. Great talking to you. See you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Thanks. Boom, on to the next. That's the smooth that I do it. I jump on the phone now. That would be what I do. You know what I mean? That's it. Oh, I already have it. Some objections I'm going to fly through real quick so you reps get an idea. I already have it. Hey, that's great, wonderful. You know what? Everybody usually has it today. But what they don't know is that I don't know if it's the older stuff or the newer style of final expense. The new stuff is really, really changed. So do you have the older or the new stuff? Well, I don't know, but, and then it starts something different. But at the end of that, you're just going to start going into the appointment setting. So I have the old stuff, which it's 20 years old. Oh, that's the old stuff. Let's take a look. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm able to double the amount you're leaving behind for less premium than you're paying. Because this new stuff's really made a difference. As living benefits, cash value, interest earnings are high. You can earn 6% on your own money, larger death benefits. I'll tell you, since I'm already in the area, it's no big deal. I'll just drop it off and that's it. So you'll be home tomorrow at 1 p.m. See, what a lot of you reps aren't doing is just hearing the objection and you're stopping right there instead of taking that objection and knocking it away and then just flowing with that. You know, saying, okay, you already have it, great, wonderful. I'm happy you got it. You can get that out on the table. We'll take a look at it. And is it the old stuff or the new stuff? Let's wipe all that out. You know what I mean? Stop being afraid of objections and just head right to the appointment. Hey, listen, I'm going to be already out there at 2 p.m. tomorrow. No big deal. I'm going to drop it off. We'll have fun. I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Can you write this down, Mr. Jones? Oh, same thing. Write it down. Tell the wife, I don't have a wife. Who helps you make important decisions? Nobody. Okay, who would be the beneficiary? Nobody. Okay, come in anyway. See you. That doesn't matter. Don't worry about the small shit. Too many of you sweat the small stuff. Okay. By the time you get there, there's a girlfriend sitting there. There's a freaking kid in the back room. They're just people, you know. So just go with it, man. You know, I thought about it, and we don't really need it. You know what I mean? I don't have the money for it. Well, you know what? The great part about this is there is no money needed right now. So I'm going to tell you that this is information. All I am is an information guide to your options, and you'd be surprised what options you have. And we're talking a penny a day, $1 a day. It doesn't matter. Somehow, some way, I fit it into everybody's budget. You know. In fact, you know, I got a crackhead down the street from you the other day, life insurance, and he spends all his money on crack. But I got him life insurance. It doesn't matter. You got it. You'll have a way to get them life insurance, and that's a true story. That's a real story. I mean, it's actually happened. So I actually did do that, and it stayed on the books. So who gives a shit, you know? Here's another thing that you have to understand is that these people have moods just like me and you. You never know what their mood is at the time that you call them. Okay, so be aware that don't walk up to a house ever and say, shit, these people aren't going to have any money. You know, most of the houses that look like they don't have money are the ones that respect this shit most because they need it the most. It's all they can leave behind is that. That's it. They can't leave big money behind in a cash, in a savings account. So they have to do it this way. I already have it. Anybody have any objections that I can go over? Because I'm teaching and tripping here. So any objections I can go over? I already have it. I don't need it. I don't have enough money. Let's see here. Drawing a blank, guys, really am. Well, anyway, until it comes back, you get the idea. Flow past it, get through the objection. Sometimes you can even use the objection to really host. How about inside the house? You know, bury me in the backyard. Ugh, that's great, Mr. Jones. You know what? I wish that was legal. But anyway, here's what we're going to do, Mrs. Jones. We're going to get you this, and Mr. Jones, this is how, you know, how I want you to look at this. I want you to picture this policy as a savings account. So I want you, Mr. Jones, to visualize this. I want his eyes to look at, there should be an arrow here, his eyes to look at cash value, living benefits, okay? Because a lot of times this isn't about leaving money behind, it's about like, they're still alive, and it's really like, where's my money going while I'm alive? What can it do for me while I'm still on this earth? That's important. You know what I mean? It really is. These people want to know what life insurance can do for them while they're still alive. So at the end of the day, we want them to understand that this comes with cash value, this is living benefit, and you know, this is a savings account of some sort. So why might that be important that one policy be good for two people today? Because of the economics of things. So if I spend $100, and by the way, where can I find $100 at? In their budget, right? That's the only place to look. So we have to look inside the budget. When we're inside this budget, you know, by asking the things that I know already, like I asked who has the two of the higher Social Security incomes, because that's what Mrs. Jones is going to receive after, God forbid, something happens to Mr. Jones. So this is going to be a part of the budget. If I add their two incomes together, I know that they're at what, like $25.50 a month just with that, and I know that they weren't taking any of the $250,000. This is just growth and protection from the downside market turns. You can also tell them that in the house, guys. Hey, remember I said that you have all your options are open. Depending on the individual, if you've got great rapport and everybody's calm and cool, you could say, listen, there's a product out there that they want me to present to everybody because people are losing like crazy, and you guys want to have a great retirement, I assume. You don't ever want to run out of money. And God forbid the next market crash comes and we crumble by 50%. Even if you know you may not have ever done that in the past, what they're noticing now is that the hidden fees are found in these products today. And here's some information on them. Okay? Boom. Here's some information on it. That's why reading that book is going to change your life, because it's going to allow you. I have a copy in here. It's in the other room, but you have to read that book and watch the videos and then write down the information. Type out a sheet that shares with them the information that you know in your head. Once you share this information, here's the Congress is changing the law on this so that the advisor that you even have hasn't told you about the hidden fees inside the product here. So what we want to do is we want to protect you from hidden fees, which is eroding your policy, eroding, use that word, eroding your product away and eliminating you from earnings that you should have, not paying the advisor. So if the advisor's at 1% and the average 401k is at 4.1%, then we're at 5.1%. You know, and if you're earning 6%, you've got less than a point on this, and you also have to pay taxes on it. So what do you earn? 50.5, you know what I mean? So we want to clean this up, and since you're not using it, these have a historic of doubling every 10 years. So every 10 years, you would double your money, if you will. And this is what I like to do for you. So if you have a printer, you have a computer, you do an illustration, or, I mean, you know, the focus for new reps would be to get the new policy sold first, you know, kind of deal. But, you know, as long as you know this at the end, you can attract more attention to this because you now sold the policy, right? And you're in a comfortable position because they bought something from you and they must trust you there. So it depends on the timing, but let's talk about budget real quickly here. Budget's vital to your whole career of finding, why wouldn't you want to sell $550 policies? Or even, how about $2,000 a month policies? Do you not think that there's reps out there that sell more than that? There's reps that sell $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 IULs. There are huge numbers out there. A lot of this can be used for, you know, the future savings of the individual, or per se that individual can't get large numbers because there's just, you know, age involved, and they need big money to get the bigger death benefit out to that individual. I have a guy that's paying $790 a month, and I think the policy is only worth $125,000. But because it fits in his budget, he's capable of doing that to leave that number behind. And he knows, well, this is earning a lot of cash value too. So his averages on F&G IUL have proven to be 8.7 to 9.7% returns over a 10-year period. So this is huge for him, and his cash value shows it, right? So the illustration shows that too. Once it gets to 125, you can go on beyond that too. So that's the great news. So it can go above this too if he lives long enough. And then we add in the living benefits. So, you know, with healthcare going up and people believing that they're constantly going to be able to afford it, when their policy can have coverage for cancer, heart attack, or stroke, you got a heart attack, you can have the death benefit. You got stroke, cancer. For Christ's sake, it runs in the water. So let's cover them in every way, fashion we can. We want to cover them in retirement. That's personal savings. Okay, that's the retirement fund. We're going to cover them in health benefits because health care is going through the roof. I'm going to tell you the statistics on that right now. The statistics on health care are that a healthy couple at age 65 right now, healthy couple for health care, will pay let's just say $290,000, $280,000. $290,000 of their money will go towards that in their retirement years. Now, what will it be when you retire? Think about that. Think how much money you're going to need just for health care alone. And when Social Security bumps up, when it bumps up 0.3 or something like that in 2017 and 18, it's small numbers, it's just tiny, but so does healthcare go up. So it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't, the numbers aren't making any sense to me, guys. As much as I train on this and learn, I'm telling you that America is coming apart, man. And in the next 10 years, it's going to be so bad that I foresee that more mortgages will be slain because of the significant other thinking that they had enough money. The homes are going to start to crumble and go back to banks. The significant other won't have enough money to get to the sell date or stay in the house. You know how many homes I go into that the woman states that I want to stay in the house because I asked. I say, and you should ask this in final expense too. God forbid, Mrs. Jones, if something happened to him, would you want to move out of this home? Would you leave here? Would you stay in this home? You know, you look around, it might be a big house. Maybe it's got steps and floors on it. And as she gets older, it becomes rough. But we want to tell them that, you know, just remember what I said, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I'm a worst case scenario. I want her to be protected in every angle, shape, and form. The good news is she may be able to stay here. Maybe if she could not stay here is the more vital point. So we want to make sure that she's always getting to the sell date. And this is where you can sell smaller product, but you're protecting something anyway, and it's vital. It's probably one of the biggest things you can protect is time. So, you know, the money used for this helps them get to the sell date of the home. And then all the equity is the inheritance. See, a lot of people think that they have to leave big policies, but if you know that they're not living in the house, and the budget is important to everybody, rich or poor, if it's rich, they want value. And if they're too old, they think of the numbers they get their cash is going to be used. And that's just stupid too. So if they go tomorrow, you know, spending $1,000 a month on even $100,000 would make sense as $10,000 a year invested, so on and so on. But there's a $100,000 immediate number to them, okay? Now, maybe it doesn't make sense when they get to 100,000. Like they're going to think that this $1,000, you know, in 10 years or something like that, will get them to $100,000. It may not, because part of that premium is used to rent that money. So that's where you have to kind of develop you know, at least this is good if it's a 10-year term with cash value. You can cut it out, you could change it up then, you know what I mean, and cash it in. At least you'll be worth 100 grand all the way through this. That has value in it. So at the end of the day, it's not usually like this, but it can be like that. So we're going for the equity anyway. 10 years from now, more baby boomers are going to pass away. They're going to flush out their accounts. They're not aware of the hidden fees. They don't have any idea that their money's eroding. They have no clue that taxes are going up. They have no idea that healthcare is already in damage. It's hurting bad right now. Where's it going later? And we have a $20 trillion deficit to pay back, and they're going to get it from us, so taxes will increase. So it's not a billion, it's not a million, it's trillion, okay? So at the end of the day, this all makes sense. I'm going to tell you guys something. If you don't start training up on the value of the products and what they bring, and what I mean by that is what I just hosted here. The value of the product is what I just said. It's savings account for retirement. Retirement. These are some points that you can bring into the house that changes the language of what this product is, so they visualize it differently. It's a savings account for, you know, cash value is a savings account for retirement. Okay, so you just put your money away for retirement. So if God willing that you two pay off the house, or if you two decide that you don't want this policy for final expense anymore, then, you know, it's building cash value, just cash it in later. It also has living benefits if your policy allows for this. This is where you want to shoot first, you know, and I'm going to tell you something real quick. Within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I already know what the health is, basically. So you should know what the health is pretty quickly so you understand where you're going to go with this. You know, I can start sharing some of the best ideas with them and what we're going to do and figuring out budget during this journey. But I can say to them also, Mr. Jones, just real quickly, have you ever had cancer? Heart attack, ever? Are you a diabetic? Smoker? And you go through those 4 real quick, and then you know. But are you on more than 5 medications? Usually, if they're on more than 5 medications, this comes out. It all depends on those medications too, so be careful. But 9 times out of 10, because of the ULs and the terms and stuff like that, it's a little harder to get in because of larger numbers of him. So you want to know if they got cancer, heart attack, even stroke, anything with diabetes, medication, and knowing these couple will help you make a decision pretty quickly on this. Do you have any problems? Have you had any issues? Now, if you're talking to young people, even I've had felons, and I freaking got to the end and asked if you've ever been a felon, later on. Just, if it's a young guy, you might want to say, have you ever been a felon? And they ask this, and some people want to know why they ask all this shit, and they're not going to mind it, because this is like, if you die tomorrow and you put down $200, they owe you $100,000. That's why. So you have to show value with their premium. $200, $300. Why am I paying that? Why will I continue to pay that? That's a big premium. Most of the people are at between $30 and $80. That's the industry standards. Average is about 80 across the board for premiums per month. Mine above 100 and way up. So this is because of value. So I have to sell one policy there. Basically, some people's every 5 to 10. Depending on if I get a $500 a month premium, it's like 6 reps selling 6 policies and shit, So it's just allowing to be able to sell less, make more, if you will. But I don't do that without steady lead flow. That's the switch. I do a lot of marketing. I mean, marketing is so important. It has been my whole career in business since I started at 15 years of age with Ferrero's deck and window cleaning. I bombarded marketing, always marketing, constantly marketing. I think it's fun. I think it's a blast to market. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you realize that we're connected to the entire world on this internet, you know what I mean? And you have access to every life rep and every scenario and every study material that you can imagine, but we're not taking advantage of it because we don't have enough time. But that's bullshit too. Because I'm going to share with you something. This is important to your career. This is a schedule. And when you don't do this correctly, you kind of scare yourself into believing that you don't have enough time in hand. So what you want to do is, if you don't believe you have enough time in your hands, you say, hey, Jay, it's true. I wake up, I got the kids, I got this. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take every 15 minutes of your life, and you're going to mark down what you're doing at that time. This is enough time to read sometimes a chapter, 15 to 20 minutes. You can get a whole chapter out of the way. You can watch a new training video. This is all the time you need to study, really. So don't make any excuses. Now, I would prefer 1 hour every day while you're new. While you're new. 1 hour a day, 7 hours a week of studies. How much is that per month? So we got 28 hours, is that right? 28 hours of training, of good training monthly. Now, 30 days from now, you'd be like an expert in a lot of things by that time. You do that per year, and that's crazy numbers. I don't know, it's like 320 or some shit, or 60, something like that, but it's a lot of hours. So train, study, use YouTube, use Google, use your carriers, use your upline. Just always, and get these scripts down, man. Why are you not practicing your scripts? Do you get on the phone and that's when you practice? Or do you walk around your house constantly repeating these scripts over and over and over again, and the objection sheets over and over? But don't do it in a way where you just study them that way. Give them to somebody and say, fire me an objection off. If you don't have a partner to do it with, why don't we create it here? And, we did live appointment setting. There's also live appointment setting with IFG, but there's live appointment setting we did at 8:30 this morning. Now, some of you are crying eyes at me because I had to wake up early. Sorry that you had to do that, but that's a part of the deal, a sacrifice, which means that I have reps, and me included, that sometimes at the gym, I used to go to the gym before the car accident, I should say, but 4 p.m. where I was at the gym, but I had reps at the gym at this time. Now, we're back home by 5 or 6, get the food, eat, study, or pray. Prayer is a good, powerful tool, too. The spirit world, man, is a great world to use for your life, to use it. You want to study, you want to train, you want to use it, and product knowledge is a very much importance to your career to learn the value of the product, guys. My way is pretty simple. You don't have to learn much about the product when you say the cash value is a retirement fund for you too, and the living benefits. Mr. Jones, for Christ's sake, you get cancer, heart attack, stroke, you're able to help pay this house. And then I'm going to talk positive, Mr. Jones, when you beat it, you get a lottery ticket, you pay a couple bucks for it. You got a lottery ticket you're sitting on. So somebody's getting paid in this house, whether it's you, Mrs. Jones, or Mrs. Jones here. But somebody's getting money. The only thing that you two have to do is remind yourselves that it is a savings account. It does fit your budget because you told me you saved, and this is an important question to ask during your journey with them, is do you save money every month? Hypothetically, do you guys save 100 to 200, 300 bucks a month? Give or take? Be quiet. Wait for the answer. Kind of uncomfortable at times, okay? So be prepared for uncomfortability. But I'm going to tell you something. Your most uncomfortable positions lead to the largest sales, okay? So yes, we save about 500 bucks a month. Okay, so at the end of the month, if I told you, since you have, some people have incomes of like 8,000 bucks a month, 10,000 bucks a month. You're quite be surprised if some of them do too, some of the houses you go into. But look, if I told you that you had to live on 7,500 bucks a month, could you do it? Would you be able to pull that off? You have to live on 7,500 bucks a month. Could you do that? Well, sure. Yeah. So if I told you had this, you do that, but you were saving $6,000 a year, let's use the bigger number, not the smaller number monthly. 6,000, and you're capable of saving $60,000 a year, but it was worth $250,000 to both of you. Would you say that that's a fair game plan? Well, hell yeah, it is, right? So this is the cash value. This is the death benefit, living benefits. This is the budget. So by sharing with them the budget that they can't afford and asking them, can you survive on that? They just admitted to the fact that they can afford to do that. Now, sometimes I'll cut it down, which is smarter to do. If you force all that on them, sometimes it's a little much. So cutting this down to 300 would be a better deal. And then say, you know what? Let's stop there. Let's cross this out. Let's do 300. Let's jump this up to 7,700 bucks, 7,700, and we'll still have this type of same scenario to be very close to this. You'll be saving for retirement because I'm going to help you do this too, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I want to do this. This is the last thing I teach you guys. I'm going to ask some questions. I want you to check out this because the mortgage companies are now allowing you to pay bi-weekly payment arrangements. So a lot of people think that means paying 2,000 bucks a month. It means you pay 500 and 500 bucks, and that equals to your 1,000 bucks a month, right? So this fits in your budget. You can do that, and they're knocking off 7, 10, and 15 years off your mortgage. So for you two, that is $120,000 that you will save if they chose 10. You will save that, and you will have this place done in 20 years. Now here, you obviously have done in 15 years, but I'm not sure which one they're going to do, and that's a hell of a big savings. Or you could continue to pay the $120,000. This is how it works. So this is working across America. Everybody's, a lot of people doing the same. So bi-weekly payment arrangements will help them see that you just helped them get $120,000. Now this becomes a monthly income for them 20 years from now. Now your policy's still good. They can still afford it. This makes my policy very affordable because now this is $700 bucks a month extra that you wouldn't have had, okay? You would not have had it. But I just shared with you this strategy, and so I want you to call a mortgage company. So when I get back by deliver, I didn't even sell the policy yet. That's what I said. I say, so when I deliver your policy back that you already have this taken care of, I want to fit it into your lifestyle, how the death will happen and what we should do at that point. Because I help my clients survive the death, especially you, Mrs. Jones. It can be a very confusing time for you. So I want to be in your corner the entire time that you're going through this without Mr. Jones. Because when he passes away, it's going to happen. We just don't know when. God forbid sooner and better later. we're prepared for that time with inflation, tax increases, and the economy not being so shifty. We just don't know what's going to come our way, right? And in 2034, they're stating that Social Security will be at 77 cents on the dollar in 2034. So if you guys have children or grandchildren, it's a good idea to start helping them because they are very unaware of it. And jobs and pensions and savings is very tough to do today. So you'd be helping generations survive your name, or else they'll be slaughtered and wiped out by their own country. So we need to protect America. That's what we're doing here, okay? And I'm very sincere with that. I mean, I've been a, I wasn't always the greatest kid in life, guys, and I had a lot of hard times growing up, and around the streets, and I left home when I was 15. I had my first partner, an older guy that was just like my business partner in many things we did. I had a party house, things like that, and I had my first company at that time. We were funding it through other means, but I do care about this country because now I see it as it is the greatest country on earth, and look at all the wars that are going on and all these, and I'm so proud of all the people that fight for this country and believe in it. What we should get back, by helping us be protected, and we index our markets, we use our markets and index, and we help these people, we can help America survive, and we can change the future the way it looks now, because the economy's just we don't know how worried I really am. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I think because I sit with anywhere between 10 and 20 people a week, and I see so much, and it's just like they have no clue what's headed their way. They really don't even investigate it, So that's why I feel like putting papers together, information.